is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are so.
It is a sweltering Sunday in Atlanta, where the Braves try to avoid a 3-game sweep at the hands of the American League champion Texas Rangers. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Make it a Hyundai Sunday every week on Fox Sports South. And a happy Father's Day, everybody, with Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine. Chip Carey with you. And no ties on Father's Day. What in the world's happened?
Happy Father's Day indeed.
No ties, and sadly, fellas, for the Braves in this series, no wins. Got to get on the board against this Texas ball club, and a real good matchup for the Atlanta Braves today.
Yeah, really good pitching matchup today, and the guy going for Texas today, Alexi Ogando, has been real good. 7-1 with a 2.7 ERA in the season. 12 of his 13 outings, he's gone 6 innings or less, and in 10 of those, he's gone 6 innings or more, and in 10 of those, he's given up 2 runs or less. So real good competitor out there today, coming off a tough start against the Yankees his last time out, so we'll see how he rebounds today.
Must be something about New York. He had trouble with the Yankees, and Jair Jurgens has had trouble with the Mets. Both of his losses this year have come to New York, or most recent losses, so he's got to get back on the beam, and I think a lot of that has to do with his control. He's got to have a little better command of his fastball, so hopefully today he'll get the corners called for him by this rookie umpire who's working.
Different-looking lineup for the Braves. Nate McLouth is back in the lineup, playing left field for the Atlanta Ball Club. Maybe that'll help the Braves score a few more runs as we wrap up this series with the Rangers on Father's Day Sunday in Atlanta. Back with our lineups and first pitch in a moment. Pushing up toward the 90s and humidity to match. And in today's game, we're participating in the Home Run Challenge. Today, every homer in this game raises $22,000 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by calling 800-798-CURE. That's 800-798-2873. or go online to www.pcf.org. Braves trying to break into the win column in this series with the suddenly red-hot Texas Rangers. Rangers have a game-and-a-half lead in the American League West and feature Ian Kinsler, Elvis Andrus, and Josh Hamilton, the 1, 2, and 3 hitters. Adrian Beltre starting to swing a hot bat. He's their third baseman and a very good defensive man at the hot corner. David Murphy, Yorvit Torrealba, and Alexi Ogando, the lower third. We will play National League rules, so Ogando gets to hit as well as pitch.
One of the things we need to see happen today, guys, in my opinion, is cut down on the errors. The Braves have gone into a real spell where they've made a lot of them, including 6 in these last 2 games against Texas that have really hurt them.
Yeah, it's been very uncharacteristic for this team. I mean, we've talked about it all year long in the broadcast that the 2 kind of staples for this team all season long have been their starting pitching and their defense. And over the course of this weekend, the defense certainly has not lived up to that standard. So I agree, Joe. I think today, perfect remedy. You got your hottest pitcher on the mound. Hopefully the gloves wake up a little bit and you can get back to that old formula of good pitching, good defense, and a few good hits.
And hot is the operative word as the Braves take the field with their Sunday red unis. Jair Jurgens going for his 9th win for the Atlanta Ball Club.
And he's pitched well at home here, Chip. He's 4-1 at Turner Field in 5 starts with a 2.29 ERA. That's a good sign. How about the heat, Tom? Have a factor? Be a factor?
Well, you know, I mean, it will a little bit. Obviously, this time of the year, every time you go out there, the heat's going to play some kind of issues with you. But I think the best thing you can do on a day like this is you try to keep your pitches to a minimum. And by that, I mean you're trying to attack the zone early, not get into too many deep counts. And if you got a chance to put somebody away on a 0-2 pitch or a 1-2 pitch, don't waste any time. Try to put them away. Try to minimize pitching behind in the count and minimize those quote-unquote waste pitches as much as you can, because that'll take a toll on you.
He did pitch against the Texas Rangers way back in 2007 while he was with the Detroit Tigers. 5 innings, a 3-hit ball, gave up only 1 run. That's the only time he's pitched against him. And his 4 keys to pitching success today, he's got a rookie umpire behind the plate today. Corey Red Hot Blazer will be back there, but hopefully Corey will give him the corners, something Jair needs to be successful with his fastball. And the leadoff man is particularly important. When you look back at his last start, that loss to the Mets, naturally we've been talking about Jose Reyes a lot and how good he's been lately, but Jose was on base 3 of the 4 at-bats against Jair, scored 2 runs, stole 2 bases. You don't want Kinsler to have a chance to wreak that kind of havoc today.
No, you don't. And I obviously leadoff guys on most teams, and certainly every inning is a big factor. But, yeah, when you're talking about a guy like Jose Reyes, obviously in particular, hugely important to keep a guy like him off base, and same thing here with Kinsler. You don't want him getting on base and setting the table for the guys coming behind him.
So here is how the Braves will line up defensively behind Jurgens. New look in the outfield. Nate McLouth gets a start in left for the Braves. Just called up from AAA after his rehab stint. Jordan Schaefer in center, Hayward in right. Diori Hernandez in for Chipper Jones at third base. Jurgens and McCann, the Braves battery for Game 3 of this series. Ian Kinsler with a 5-game hitting streak for Texas. How long did it take you when you faced or had a rookie umpire calling balls and strikes to have a comfort level with his zone?
You know, it'll probably take an inning or so. I mean, he's got to get comfortable with you. You got to get comfortable with him.
In the air to right. And a 3-pitch out takes care of Kinsler. 1 away.
His last start against the Mets, he pitched into the 6th inning, but gave up 8 hits and 5 walks that day. Again, the command to the corners with his fastball was an issue that day, and a lot of base runners, and wound up losing by 1 run, 4-3.
Those 5 walks are almost as much as he had in the whole month of May. Very uncharacteristic for him.
Elvis Andrus bats. He's swinging a hot bat of late as well. He too with a 5-game hit streak. And stole home yesterday. And that wasn't the first time that Andrus did that this season.
That was perfect execution on that play, on the double steal. On this, you've got to have perfect timing if you're the guy at third base to recognize that the ball is going to be thrown through. And he got in there easily. Braves defended it well, but couldn't keep him off the plate.
So Elvis Andrus, the first Ranger ever with 2 steals of home in the same season. Turned the trick in last night's extra inning win for Texas. And now he faces a 1-ball, 2-strike count here in the first inning.
And there was a pitch that he didn't get.
And the result is a hit to right on the next pitch.
And an icy glare from Jurgens back at the umpire.
Yeah, tried to go sinker away on the pitch before that he wanted the call, didn't get it, tried to come back with it, and that one was just obviously up in the zone, not anywhere near where Jair wanted it.
Andrus 21 of 23 in stolen base attempts. Has a big lead at first, and Josh Hamilton in the box.
You know, you would think with Hamilton hitting behind him, that would give him an opportunity to steal quite a lot of bases, because from a pitching standpoint, yeah, you want to pay some attention to him and not let him steal, but you better pay attention to this guy in the batter's box or you're going to be giving up 2 runs in a hurry.
Were you still pitching, Tom, when he came back to the Reds?
I was, yes.
And
yes.
Did you notice anything special about him?
No, I mean, I had never seen him before, but then you heard all the stories of how much talent he had. And, you know, before he went through all his problems, and I think it became pretty apparent pretty quickly that you saw the reasons why people were excited about him. And, I mean, look, he's got a tremendous body, a great athletic body, and you just see that, and you see how how comfortable he looks out there on the field. And like I said, it doesn't take long to see why people like him, and he's certainly taken advantage of his second chance.
He's taken with the #1 pick in the draft ahead of Josh Beckett. That ran into all kinds of off the field drug issues.
And just think about that potential outfield Tampa Bay could have had. Crawford, Baldelli, and Josh Hamilton. One ball, 1 strike. Runner goes. Got a great jump. But a perfect throw. Andrus tagged out for the second out.
Boy, Mac put that one right on the bag. It's the only reason they got this call. Like a good call out there by Larry Vanover.
It was a good call. Perfect throw. Like, you know, Chip, right away when you said he got a great jump, I didn't think he had a chance, but Mac made a perfect throw, and that's what it took.
So bases clear. Jurgens now a 3-1 count to Hamilton.
From that angle, maybe the hand got there first.
It's all right. I like the real speed call.
Yeah, I like the center field angle, and we couldn't tell.
And that caught stealing comes at a perfect time for Hamilton. Walks with 2 out.
In that start on June 14th against the Mets, that first inning was a problem. He gave up a single and a stolen base to Reyes. He walked Willie Harris, gave up a single to Beltran. That was the only run they got in the first. Then he had an easy second inning, and then the top of the order came back up in the third inning, and they put 2 more on the board.
And a strike to 32-year-old Adrian Beltre. Coming off a .321 season, 28 homers, 102 RBIs with the Red Sox last year.
those numbers, and there's no room for him in that lineup this year.
Tell you what, this guy can still play third base too. One of the more underrated defensive third basemen in the game, I believe. And while Colby Lewis's little flip to first got all the highlight reels the other night, the play Beltre made running away from the infield down the left field line was spectacular. Ron Washington told me this morning, he says, I don't think I've ever seen a third baseman go that far and make a catch like that.
Well, after all the damage Beltre did with the Dodgers, the Mariners, the Red Sox, first All-Star team was last year for this man.
Playing a tough position with a lot of guys that are pretty well established.
Good cut. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Needs to make a good pitch here. Doesn't want to go 3-2 and have to throw a strike.
Beltre fought it off to stay alive. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Interesting thing about Adrian, too, for all that power and production, he's a guy that seems to be pretty tough to strike out. Most strikeouts he's had in the last 3 seasons is 90.
That's very impressive with his swing because he doesn't get cheated.
Yeah, when you're putting up those kind of power numbers and only striking out less than 100 times a year, you're doing something.
And now the Rangers making Jurgens work. The next pitch will be the 20th of this first inning.
It's a good Father's Day crowd. A lot of dads on the field before the game, walking in the parade around the diamond and also playing some catch out in right field. It's fun to see.
Runner goes, and the pitch lined softly into center. Schaefer can't get there. It's a blue pit. And Texas has runners at the corners with 2 out. Second hit of the inning. And it brings up Michael Young.
That wasn't a bad pitch. Pretty good slider that was off the end of his bat. But with Ugla coming over to cover on the steal attempt, it kind of took him out of any chance of going out in center field to make a catch.
Well, here's Mr. Ranger, Michael Young. He's played more games in a Texas uniform than anybody in that franchise's history.
Give me a reason, if you can, why would Ugla be covering on a 3-2 pitch with 2 out? I can't think of anything that, I mean, if, was it 2-2? Okay, that's why.
Chased a high fastball. Now Young behind 0-2.
guy's a solid player who handled himself really well in the offseason after they had acquired Beltre through free agency. There was a lot of talk about Young being traded because there was really no place for him to play on the infield anymore. And the fans went nuts and were upset that he might be traded. He really pretty much kept his mouth shut, just waited to see what was going to happen.
Low and outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, since the 2003 season, only Ichiro has more hits than any other, or than Michael Young in Major League Baseball. But not this time, as Jurgens gets a comebacker. It took him 25 pitches to get out of the first inning, but he escapes with no runs across. The Braves coming up for the first time. Gonzalez, the Braves start play today, 6 games behind the Phillies, and yet another lineup for this Atlanta ball club, which takes another step toward getting healthier today. Nate McLouth is in the lineup for the Braves. He's in left field and batting 7th. Jordan Schaefer remains the leadoff man and plays center.
This guy reminds me physically of Pedro Estacio, the longtime pitcher in the big leagues, especially with the Dodgers. But Alexio Gondo is 27 years old, 6'4", 195 out of the Dominican, and he's having himself quite a year. Number 7 in the American League in ERA at 271, and 11-2 lifetime in the big league since he got called up last year. His 4 keys to success today: hard and fast. He throws hard, has a slider, really no changeup, and he works fast. Long balls have been a problem for him. He's given up 8. Which account for over half of the runs he's allowed this year. If he keeps it in the ball, he's got a chance.
Well, let's hope he doesn't. We can raise some money for prostate cancer research, and the Braves can put some crooked numbers up.
Yeah, this isn't the matchup you probably would want when you're trying to raise money with home runs. These two guys.
Yeah.
23rd game for Jordan Schaefer today. And in that stretch, fellas, he scored 17 runs.
Well, he's making a conscious effort to do things a little bit different this time around. I've heard him talk about it a number of times, trying to make his speed more an element of his game. And to his credit, thus far, he's really tried to do that.
Alexio Gondo, his fastball is usually around 94 to 96, sometimes a little higher. And the last 2 pitches have been 97. He pitches with the relief pitcher's mentality, which is what he was last year. He said, I just try to go as hard as I can, as long as I can.
No swing, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This guy signed with the Oakland organization. His name was Argenis Benitez in those days, and was an outfielder and had a career .259 average. Hit some home runs, but then ran into all kinds of visa problems in the Dominican. Had to stay in the Dominican for 5 years. Was not allowed to come to the United States. We'll explain that as we go along. And changed to pitching.
And he was acquired in the Rule 5 draft. He wasn't traded for, but truly, fellas, he was the player to be named later.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Somehow Alexio Gondo sounds a lot better than.
Yeah. Change of scenery and change of name.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have an alter ego. You have an outfielder name. You have a pitcher name, right, Tommy?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never had to do that, but it makes sense. I mean, if you're trying to leave that part of your career behind you, make a fresh start.
Let it be known that Argenis Benitez is long gone. Good at bat.
You bet. It'll take 9 pitches at least for this one to be decided.
He was banned from the U.S., couldn't get a visa because he was involved in a racket where, to get around immigration, he and others were provided wives that had American citizenship, sight unseen, really, and he was declared married when he never even saw that person. So that affected several guys.
Yeah, 50 players from the Dominican were involved in that. And a 10-pitch sequence takes care of Schaefer, a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And there's one out. Here's how the defense lines up behind Ogando today. Josh Hamilton moves over to center field. Elvis Andrus is an electric player but has 13 errors. And Mike Napoli is disabled. That means Torrealba is the #1 catcher for the moment for the Rangers.
These two clubs have played in reverse of their reputation defensively. They're one of the worst defensive clubs in the American League, and they've been top-notch.
What a job by Ron Washington last year. The Rangers, American League champions, got to the World Series. And Dan Uggla pops one up right in the middle of the infield. Who wants it? And Kinsler battles the sun and hangs on for out number 2.
Elvis Andrus wanted no part of that ball.
That's because Elvis had time to realize I've still got my shades on top of my cap.
Yeah, exactly.
Kinsler's got the eye black, but that wasn't helping him any.
That ball was up there alone. That was the definition of a big league pop up there.
And Kinsler, a big league play. Wow. 2 outs. And Jason Hayward hitting in the number 3 spot today. Batting .213 with 7 homers.
Here's something that just from a visual effect for Jason ought to tell him, hey, I'm not using the whole field.
Yeah, you're right.
Look at where Beltre is playing at third base.
Yeah, they've got a mini shift on for him. Beltre's almost a shortstop, and that ought to be telling Jason, man, I'm trying to pull everything, and that's the way they're playing me now.
You remember last year in Jason's rookie season, how many games he won by hitting the ball down the third base line?
Well, and, you know, part of that too might be that, as we've talked about, he's been pounded in so much this year. You know, trying to see if he can hit that pitch that has probably gotten him into it a little bit.
Tried to go the other way on that delivery. Andrus did not have to move a muscle. 3 up, 3 down for the Braves. No score on Father's Day Sunday in Atlanta. Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. Scoreless game after an inning. With Joe and Tom, I'm Chip. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Might notice the players, the umpires, all sporting the pale blue wristbands. That's in support of prostate cancer research. What's the tally? 22,000 for every homer?
For every homer. And is that the case? Is that what those are for? Because I thought Tom and I were given one just in case we got a call today. You know, come on down, we need you.
Lord, I hope it doesn't come to that.
Hey, I have 4 silver sluggers. Come on now.
Okay, you can hit 5th. But as Joe said, great turnout today. Hot weather. Interleague play, Braves and Rangers. Toronto in tomorrow night. Atlanta needs to pick it up a bit on this homestand. It's been a frustrating and disappointing run here at Turner Field for this portion so far.
I was thinking that coming in. What a difference a year makes. I mean, this team can't seem to get out of their own way at home this year. And last year, boy, oh boy, they couldn't lose a game at home.
Nelson Cruz pops one up behind first. Long run, Freeman. Jason's got it. One man down.
2010, to back up what you're saying, Tom, the Braves, before the All-Star break, the Braves only lost 1 home series all year. This year, this will mark the 7th series loss already before the All-Star break.
Well, it's been a struggle, not just win column and loss column. It's been a struggle to keep guys in the lineup. That's the other big difference. As David Murphy bats, I'll bet you could count on one hand the number of times the Braves had their opening lineup together, opening day lineup together since May 1st.
Yeah, you're probably right, and I'm sure we can find out.
Chan looked it up for us. It was May 21st, Chan? May 19th.
Yeah, last year it seemed like they were hit with the injury bug late in the year. This year it's gotten them early, so maybe that's a good thing. Get it out of the way.
One guy's back today, and that's Nate McLouth. Saw Chipper in the locker room before the game. He said he feels a lot better. Maybe he can go tomorrow. I've hardly talked about the absence of Martin Prado and what he's meant to this club offensively, certainly. During break, Joe, you saw a fan who really wants him back soon.
Yeah, a little girl had a sign that said, "Number 14, take your antibiotics and please sign my ball."
That's into center. And Murphy is out number 2. And that's our quote of the day, fellas, brought to you by Geico. Injuries are something every club has to deal with.
Freddie says we just have to keep our nose to the grindstone and keep going, keep battling. We have all those injuries you're talking about, but we're in ball games and we're still playing and pitching good. A lot of one-run games.
And if you're looking for the sunny side up with the injuries, you know guys are coming back.
Well, and that's what you try and keep your eye on, is just keep weathering the storm until those guys come back.
You mentioned Martin, Chip, and I think maybe the reason we don't talk about it is just so we don't cry.
Yeah.
I mean, he affects the lineup. His absence affects the lineup probably more than anybody because of how many guys you try to find to take his place up there at the top of the order.
I mean, aside from what Martin brings you statistically, there's an element that he brings being in the lineup that it's infectious to guys. I mean, the guys love him. They love seeing him go out there and play hard and do his thing. And I think when they see him doing that, that rubs off on them. And you don't have that element when he's not in the lineup.
Infectious may not have been the best term.
Good word. You're right. You're right.
But yeah, it'll be great to get him back. Staph infection, that's real serious stuff because it can potentially impact not just him but everybody else. So you can understand why he and the Braves have been very, very cautious in taking care of that. One ball, 2 strikes. That doesn't even factor in, fellas, the pitching that the Braves are going to get back at some point. Might see Beachy on Wednesday. Medlin and Moylan also rehabbing.
Well, the Braves are 6 games out right now behind the Phillies, who have the best record in baseball. I just feel like if they can gradually get everybody back and stay close, that by the time they get Moylan and Medlin back, they'll be ready to make a mad push, you know, sometime around the middle of August or thereabouts, and see what they can do. But the Phillies, you just can't count on the Phillies coming back to the pack, because you don't foresee them going any extended losing streaks with that starting rotation.
No, with that rotation, you can't count on them having losing 5 or 6 in a row or losing 8 out of 10. I mean, it might happen, but you certainly can't count on it.
And the other thing about the Phillies, too, in an era where, or at least in a season in which there's so much offensive parity, with Chase Utley back in their lineup, they're starting to score a lot of runs. At least it seems that way from a distance.
Yeah, they're getting better every day. Victorino was hurt too, and he's back and drove in, I think, 4 runs last night in Seattle.
Whom we'll see on our next road trip. Mariners fighting for first place. Braves go to San Diego and Seattle after our series with Toronto. That's through the hole on the right side. Torrealba punches a 2-out single.
JJ took his glove off. I don't know if he showed up his infielders, but it didn't look good. I don't know if Freddie gave up on this ball early, but JJ broke over there like Freddie might go for it, or maybe in his opinion thought he should have, and then he took his glove off and stood there in disgust. Not a good sign.
No. That's just a good piece of hitting right there. That's just hitting them where they ain't.
And as Joe mentioned, be careful with Ogando. Yes, he's an American League pitcher, but this guy hit 23 homers in the minor leagues.
No, he didn't. It was the other guy.
Oh, you know what? You're exactly right.
Well, he taught him to hit then.
Yeah. Back-to-back 2-out hits. And now Kinsler coming up after flying out to right.
Acknowledging a big roar from the dugout.
Here's Kinsler. A 17th round pick back in 2003 for Texas.
He's really a nice player. Fun to watch. Does a lot of things to help you win. His injury problems have kept him from really compiling any one great career year, but he can do a lot of good things.
Yeah, I like the way he goes about his business.
That ball eats up Diori Hernandez, recovers, and a throw to first late. Texas has loaded the bases with 2 outs, and we'll see how that's scored.
I would guess a base hit. That was hard hit and a tough hop off his chest.
Yeah, he had all he could do to get body on that ball with that bounce. Almost made a heck of a recovery.
Mm-hmm.
That hit the lip of the infield?
I didn't see that. Might have.
I mean, it was real close to that grass cutout. Yeah, that scored an error. So Elvis Andrus bats. Andrus extended his hitting streak with a first inning single. He's knocked in 29 runs this year.
See if that hit the lip of the grass. No, got the dirt chip, but
yep.
And it came up hard on him.
Yeah, he might be thinking, I'll take the error. I'm glad it didn't knock my teeth out.
Yeah.
Well, this is where, as a pitcher, you got to bear down and try and pick your teammates up a little bit.
Fans are trying to help him out.
One and two. Right off his fists, and Jurgens is out of a second inning mess. But he is piling up the pitches, folks. That's 50 through 2 innings. South. It's brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Joe Tom and Chip with you this afternoon. No score as the Braves come up for their second look at hard throwing right-hander Alexi Ogando. And we're back at it tomorrow. Former Brave Yunel Escobar and the Toronto Blue Jays come to town. Catch the game on Peachtree TV here in Atlanta. Outside of Atlanta on Fox Sports South. Coverage starts at 7. Check your local listings or go to foxsportssouth.com to see where the game is going to be on in your area.
Well, while we're killing a little time here waiting for Mr. Ogando, I have to fulfill a little request here. Carmen Smith, wife of Braves video coordinator Rob Smith, asked that we pass along happy birthday wishes to Rob today. Today's Rob's birthday, so Rob, happy birthday, happy Father's Day.
Hope he's got it on tape.
Well, I would think he would. If he doesn't, then clearly he wasn't where he was supposed to be.
So happy birthday, Rob. I'm sure you cut some great video for the Braves today. Maybe this second inning will put the first run on the board.
Put a little highlight reel together after this inning.
Well, Brian McCann's certainly doing that at home, isn't he?
Boy, he has been some kind of good.
6 homers in the last 11 games played here at Turner Field for the Braves catcher, still leading the National League catching corps for the All-Star game.
They're still counting votes. Vote early, vote often, Brian McCann.
And here's our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot.
Another homer yesterday, homer in the first game of the series. Bobby Cox is at the ballpark this morning and saying hello to everybody. And, of course, Brian made a beeline for him. And Bobby was giving him some high fives for his work.
Talk, Tommy, about the evolution of McCann as a catcher. We always have known he's able to hit, but you threw to this kid as a rookie. What's different from your perspective?
The difference is that most young kids really don't care that much about the defensive side of the game. I mean, obviously they do to a certain extent, but I mean, let's face it, they got here because they can hit, and they know that they're going to stay here if they continue to hit. So it's a defensive side of things that sometimes takes a little bit of a back seat, but I never got that impression with Brian. He wants to be as good as he can be. You know, what I always liked about him, too, is, you know, you'd sit down before a start, you'd talk about what you wanted to try and do, and when the game was over, you know, if it went well, he'd still sit down and talk to you about, okay, what did we do, how did we do, what went well, and when things didn't go well, he almost took it worse than you did. He wanted to know what he did wrong to try and help you out the next time you get into some of those situations. So, you know, that's pretty rare for a guy who's as talented as he is offensively.
2 balls, 2 strikes for McCann leading off the second. How long would those debriefing sessions go after a game?
You know, I mean, sometimes it might be 5 minutes. Sometimes it might be, you know, on the road you tend to have a little bit more time. It might be, you know, a 15 or 20-minute conversation. So it kind of depended on what happened during the course of the game.
He's just been having one good at bat after another. He's not giving any at bats away. He's battling. Few one pitch at bats, but not many. Tell you what, this guy is bringing it. That was 98.
Yeah, he's nice and loose in this heat today.
If there is a difference between he and Estacio had that real long, lanky arm action. This guy's more like an infielder, and the short arm action might be a little harder to pick up.
Brian did not swing and is the first Braves base runner. Joe, I know you talked about this on Friday, but was it the emergence of Ogando that allowed the Rangers to keep Feliz in the bullpen?
Well, remember, they tried Feliz for a couple of starts in spring training, and they were very reluctant to move Feliz to the rotation. They didn't really want to do that because he'd been so good out of the bullpen. So, yes, they needed somebody else then to take their mind off Feliz for the rotation, and this guy did.
Yeah, Ogando is 7-1. And now looks down Freddie Freeman, who's in the middle of a real worrisome offensive rut, isn't he?
Yeah, it's piling up. 16 strikeouts in his last 25 at bats. Kind of started in Houston.
And when you're in a run like that, what is the count always?
They just put it on the board. 0-2.
Yep.
Something I've already noticed, though, about this at bat, he seems to be staying upright a little better. I think when he gets in these ruts, they tie him up, or more accurately, he ties himself up when he starts leaning and draping out over the plate, and then he's got no place to go. At least on that swing and the one before, he stayed more upright, let his hands work.
So my question for you, Tommy, do you pitch to what a guy's doing now, or do you pitch to the numbers on the scoreboard?
A little bit of both. I mean, obviously the numbers on the scoreboard shows he's doing some things well, but yeah, I mean, part of your going over your scouting report is knowing who's hot and who's not, and if a guy's not.
He's hot. That's driven deep right. Park may not hold it. Leaping at the wall is Cruz. He brought it back. And the throw back to first, not in time to get McCann. Freddie just missed a 2-run homer.
Well, I thought he got it.
I think there was a chance it was staying in here.
I don't think it would have. I think he might have taken it right off the top line there.
Yeah. Nice play. I mean, nice, unfortunately, like you say, when it rains, it pours. When it's not going well, that kind of stuff happens. But, back to your point, Chip, yeah, I think as a pitcher, you want to know the guys that are swinging it really well or not well and try and be aggressive or careful based on that a little bit.
So a strike to Alex Gonzalez, who too is in the midst of a rough run at the plate. And he too, Joe, not making a lot of consistent contact.
Yeah, he's just 2 for 18 on this homestand. Take a look at Freddie on that swing, though, and watch how he stays a little more up. He didn't dive like he normally does. He also got a hanging slider, and that helped.
That helps. But yeah, that looked much more typical of the swing that we're used to seeing out of Freddie Freeman.
Tough luck there.
Now, I wonder, too, with a lot of these guys. I mean, look, we've talked all year long, and everybody that breaks this team down talks about the offense. They're not scoring runs. When are they going to score runs? And then you've got all these injuries upon injuries. I mean, you wonder how much some of these guys are trying to take on too much, try to do too many things, and, it's causing them to get into these funks.
Second strikeout for Ogando. And 2 are out for left fielder Nate McLeod.
Yeah, back to Ogando real quick. Last year he worked out of the bullpen all 44 games that he pitched, and he was 4-1 with a 1.30 ERA. That was the best ERA in Rangers history for somebody that threw 40 or more innings. So they knew that he could throw hard. They knew he had a good slider. So just giving him a chance to start. He's taking the reins and run with that.
And if memory serves, Joe, they've had some pretty good guys who can pitch in the Texas organization.
Well, he's got a good pitching coach, too, and Mike Maddox to help steer the way.
Nate got 6 rehab at bats at AAA, pronounced himself fit for duty after missing a lot of time with an oblique problem.
That happened May 22nd in Anaheim on a check swing.
Nothing in 2.
This guy hadn't walked many people either. He walked McCann, but he's walked 2 or fewer in 12 of his 13 starts, so he's been around the plate.
Yeah, you can't look for him to get himself in trouble because typically he hasn't done it.
McCann just took off, and Ogando never even looked at first base. An easy stolen base.
And I heard somebody yelling before he ever broke to the plate.
Somebody was yelling something. I'm assuming it was step off. Yeah, that's why you can't just forget about anybody over there. You got to every once in a while just make a token throw over there, let them know, hey, I'm paying attention.
The second steal for Brian, and a hit could score the first run.
Welcome back, Nate. You got hit by a pitch last night in Gwinnett.
That'll make his oblique feel better.
I'm not sure about that. He's hurting.
Didn't look like he made much of an effort to get out of the way.
They get him right on the knee.
Yeah, right on the side of the knee.
It's kind of Martin Prado-like, although Prado's injury was on a thrown ball to second base.
He actually kind of kneeled into that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just once he planted his foot, there was nowhere he could go, but.
What a. Been waiting a month to play, and then you get nailed in the knee.
And it sounded like it hurt, too.
So Nate McLeod at first.
Yeah, he came out of there like, I waited all this time to come back for that. Well, let's hit one in the gap and see if it affects his running at all.
Fiore can hit a fastball. Let's see if he gets one to his liking. 2 on, 2 out, second inning.
I like their defensive positioning for him. He's been hitting the ball hard the other way. Just almost unfair when you've been paying attention in the dugout for your first at bat, watching this guy work. You're seeing the speed of the pitch on the scoreboard, 97, 98 every pitch. And then he drops that first pitch slider in there for a strike. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I wasn't geared for that until I had 2 strikes.
Torrealba trying to guide Ogando through this sequence. Pitcher due next for the Braves, Jair Jurgens. Now 2-2. That was tipped and caught, and that'll retire the side. Braves get a walk and a hit batsman, but can't his first run, and on we go to inning number 3. Sports South is brought to you in part by Sherwin-Williams, by the Georgia Lottery, and by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Scoreless game after 2. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Nice crowd in Atlanta. A hot, muggy afternoon. And it's going to be a lot of fun, as always, here on 4th of July. The Braves will be in town with the top fireworks show in the Southeast, presented by Publix and Captain America, on Friday, July 1st and the 4th. That's right, 2 fireworks shows during that series. For the best seat location and ticket price, order your tickets in advance at braves.com/tickets or call 800-745-3000. The Orioles will be here July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Then the Colorado Rockies for 4 games.
Big news out of Florida today, huh?
Yep. Edwin Rodriguez, the Florida manager, resigned today. Marlins in the midst of a long losing streak.
How many they lost now?
9 in a row, but they're 1-17 in June. Their bench coach, Matt Hyde, I believe.
Brandon Hyde.
Brandon Hyde,
yeah,
is the interim manager today I don't know if this caught the team by surprise. Must have. He's going to manage the team today, and then they'll make a decision for the rest of the season tomorrow.
Josh Hamilton didn't get a high fastball. JJ has his first strikeout today.
High target, delivered, missed.
It's amazing. The Marlins 1-17. The Marlins' wives have as many wins as their husbands do. They played Tampa Bay's wives in a charity softball game before the game and beat them. It's a rough month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most feeble month on record? We're gonna find that out, don't we? 1-17. That's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
You gotta figure you're gonna stumble your way into 5 wins.
I was really surprised when I heard that they sent Chris Coughlin back to AAA. I couldn't imagine that he would be going that bad that they would send him back. But they did.
Don't know if this is all the ripple effect of their hitting coach getting fired, a very popular member of the organization, John Malley, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Yep.
That happened after the Braves and Marlins finished the series down in Miami. As another pop-up, this one behind second. Dan Ugla is there for the second out.
Well, the man who replaced him, Eduardo Perez, managed in the Puerto Rican Winter Leagues, was very successful. Makes you wonder if he's going to go from ESPN to hitting coach to manager in a matter of about 10 days.
Would they try to hire Bobby Valentine again?
They might. I mean, he had his bags packed, ready to go the first time around, and didn't happen.
Strike one to Michael Young. His comebacker ended the Texas first. And JJ could use an easy inning. 50 pitches after 2. That was his 10th of this third inning.
If they do, there's going to have to be some kind of clause in there that the Marlins ask for permission to talk to any future ESPN analysts.
I was going to say, Carl Ravitch might come down and be the pitching coach.
Right. John Shamby's available.
They've already done that once, haven't they?
They had him. Yeah, they had their shot at him.
Yep.
Boog. Things can't possibly be that bad.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Need to make a big pitch right here. Get through this inning. Get your pitch count back in order.
And he popped him up. Wind is blowing out toward right, and that thing carries out to Schaefer. Young's retired, and JJ has a much needed 1-2-3 top half of the third. at Turner Field in Atlanta.
And happy Father's Day to you two gentlemen.
And to you too, buddy.
Thanks,
Thank
too.
you.
And while we have a moment, we'd like to acknowledge Major League Baseball and Fox Sports lost a dear friend this week in Laura Ziskin. Laura was a prolific film producer and studio executive. She produced many great films, including Pretty Woman, As Good as It Gets, and the Spider-Man movies. Laura battled breast cancer for 7 years, was the co-founder of Stand Up to Cancer, an organization that Fox Sports and Major League Baseball proudly support. Laura will be missed. She was 61 years old.
And our sympathies to her family.
Jurgens, Schaefer, and Ugla for the Braves in the third inning.
He's taking it easy on JJ, just 95.
Yeah, take it a little off to locate, I guess.
Hey, pretty good cut. 1-2.
Now, you guys have been around a little bit, and I've still been paying attention. I'm reading some rumblings that Freddie's talking about moving the hitter into the ace slot. Have you guys had any conversations with him about that? Or
I haven't, but I know he is thinking about it.
Yeah.
Just in some way to get the offense going.
He said he's doing a lot of research, and he's talked to managers about it. He's thinking about it, is what he has said. Of course, Tony La Russa and the Cardinals have been doing that in recent years. And there's another team that's been doing it lately, and it's the Washington Nationals.
Didn't Ned Yost do it a couple of times, too, for Kansas City?
Might have. Interleague play, you mean? Kansas City, or do you mean Milwaukee?
When he was with Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah, you said Kansas City. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Milwaukee. JJ puts it in play, and Hamilton for out number one. And the philosophy behind that's real simple. If the ninth place hitter is not the pitcher and gets on, you turn your lineup over, your number one hitter gets on. You have a chance for your best hitter, the number three hitter, to maybe bat with the bases loaded once or twice in a week. And if you score an extra run or two, maybe it's worth the risk.
I think that all depends on who your number three hitter is. Tony La Russa was a pretty simple thing with Albert Pujols. And if and when Chipper is back in the lineup, not if, but when he's back in the lineup, might be a consideration.
Yeah, Washington, during this run, they've been batting the pitcher eighth. Jason Worth's been their leadoff guy. And Mike Morse, playing first base with Adam LaRoche hurt, has been driving in a ton of runs for the Nationals club.
Yeah, don't look now, but they've moved into a tie with the Mets. And the Marlins are now in last place.
But does it surprise you guys that there's some more of that sort of unconventional offensive thinking with so many teams struggling in this year two of the pitcher?
I don't think so. I mean, look, teams are trying to find any way, anyhow, to try and scratch a few more runs across, and I don't think anything's off the table.
Well, there's a couple of philosophies being floated around there, and I want to add one to it. And it may seem far-fetched, but just give it some consideration. And I'm not going to say that just because Tom's sitting here. But everybody's saying, okay, we're past the steroids era. There's no more amphetamines. They've cleaned that up and are still cleaning it up. They were talking about the great pool of talent for pitchers in this draft. Whether they were college or high school makes no difference to me. That would be somewhere in the 18 to 21-year-old range. We'll go back 18 or 20 years ago to when we got a little catcher's interference here.
So Schaefer will reach. That's an error on the catcher as well. So fast man aboard for the Braves, and Jordan Schaefer with one out.
So when these 18 to 21-year-olds were coming along, and they were, let's say, 5, 6 years old, just learning about baseball, figuring it out, that's in the heyday of Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine. Superstation, nationwide, on TV all the time, getting a lot of publicity. They're on TV every night. And there might have been some of those kids at that age, at a young age, who said, I want to be like Tom Glavine, Greg Maddox, or John Smoltz, and wanted to be pitchers. I'm just asking.
No, I mean that's certainly a part of the equation, I'm sure. I mean, look, I think all of us as kids are influenced by some athlete and said, I want to do that, you know, whether it's a particular sport or a particular position within a sport. So I think that certainly could be part of the conversation. How much, I don't know, but yeah, I mean,
they're just going on and on about all of these power arms now.
Ugla powers a pitch through the hole on the left side, and the Braves have something cooking now. First and second, one out.
And there might have been some of those guys who might have grown up to be position players, but instead became pitchers because of that influence.
That could be. But there's a pretty darn big talent pool of pitchers in the game right now, and you know, everybody talks about it, and they say, you know, everything kind of goes cyclically, and you know, for a while, for various reasons, it was offensive, and now it seems to have taken a turn more towards the pitchers. So, I don't know.
I think too, with the era that Joe just mentioned ending, as Jason hits, when you think about what you and Greg and John were able to do in the era in which you pitched, I think that makes your numbers even more remarkable, quite frankly.
Yeah, it does. I mean, again, I don't think we ever thought about it when we were doing it, but you look back on it now, and yeah, you kind of like, well, wonder what else could have happened. But you know, we all did all right. In an era where chicks dug the long ball, we did all right.
One ball, one strike. That'll set up the outside corner for Ogando. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, if it does, he's got a huge hole to work with over there on the left side. He could do what Ugla did, although Dan pulled his, but that's a big hole to work with.
Torrealba can't find it. Still can't find it. Big turnaround third for Schaefer, but he'll slam on the brakes.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that roar from the crowd when Schaefer rounded third? I mean, that's the excitement of having somebody fast down the bases, and what a thrill and what a charge it puts in everybody. He got to third, rounded it, and the crowd went crazy.
I think that's where we're headed in the game, folks. Speed, the threat of speed.
Well, it was that way for a long, long time when I first came in with teams like the Cardinals with Vince Coleman and those guys, and the home run ball kind of took that aspect of the game away for a little while. But I agree. I think teams are going to have to try and get back into it more and more.
Jason wishes he had that pitch again.
Yeah, this is easier said than done. This guy's throwing so hard, but you really do just need to put the ball in play. Contact here, infield back. Literally anywhere but back to the pitcher, and you got to run in the lead.
That's fouled at the plate, and Jason will hobble around for a moment.
I'm not sure, Tom, but even on a 3-2 pitch here, no, I thought the target was up. It wasn't. I was wondering if Torrealba was wanting one of those high fastballs, but not so. And no, that hurt.
And they, of course, play if you're happy and you know it.
It's an 83-mile-an-hour slider that Freeman almost hit out of here, and that one was the same pitch.
Catcher's interference, a single, and a wild pitch has runners second and third for the Braves with one out.
Very quickly, Ogando's pitch count's gotten up there pretty high, so both these starting pitchers, with the pitch count and the heat, in danger of not being out there too long.
Well, last night, how about Harrison's job? A 2-hour and 16-minute rain delay, and he comes back and pitches a couple of innings.
He must have been doing an awful lot down there in the clubhouse to keep himself loose. That's a long time. I don't remember any starting pitcher really ever coming back with that kind of lengthy delay. I mean, typically 45 minutes is kind of where you're starting to really thinking hard about it, and anything over an hour usually is a no-brainer. So 2+ hours, almost unheard of.
Yeah, it was throwing in the mid-90s when he came back. I mean, he was bringing it. Looping line drive, base hit. Ugla around third will score, and the Braves take a 2-0 lead.
Like he fought that one off a little bit, but he did go the other way.
Yep, fastball away, served it the other way, and good piece of hitting, a good piece of running by Dan Ugla too. He could see that Elvis, that ball was kind of fading away from him, that he, as much as he was trying to chase it down, it kept running away from him, and he got a good read on that. Scored easily.
Atlanta strikes first. Here's BMAC, and he launches to right. Cruz, though, makes the catch. Hayward at first now, 2 outs for Freddie Freeman, who also hit it hard to right and nearly hit it out.
That was good for Jason, too. Snapped an 0 for 9 for him and a couple of RBIs. Maybe that'll get him going again.
Well, that's the encouraging thing. This team has not hit much, and they're within shouting distance of first place still. It's also an encouraging sign.
Yeah, that's scoring first.
Yep.
You bet. Took a toll on Torrealba. Up high on the mask and helmet.
Catching's fun on a 100-degree day.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Line drive it to right. Look at Hayward. Cut the bag at second. Three hits in the inning. They're at the corners for Alex.
And another good sign for Freddie. And again, there's just no dive or tilt like there was before.
Yeah, I mean, he just stayed on that pitch. And you know, he was trying to go away, and had he tried to dive and hit that pitch where it ended up over the middle of the plate, he would have never been able to put a good swing on it.
You guys mentioned the relief pitcher mentality. Go as hard as he can for as long as he can. This has been his longest inning.
Yeah, 26 pitches.
Well, I wonder, you know, as I'm sitting here watching him, just the curiosity side, I wonder, you know, as he gets to a point where he starts going through the lineup for the second and third time, how things change for him. And as he gets to a point as a starter now, when he starts seeing teams for the second and third time, because when you're a guy that everything is hard, you know, after a while, these guys are going to come up here and they're virtually going to eliminate his slider and just look dead red. And most of these guys, if they're guessing fastball and they get a fastball, they're going to put a pretty good swing on it. And I would just think somewhere along the line, this guy's going to have to come up with some kind of off-speed pitch.
That one was pretty good at 82.
Yeah, he'll do that with his slider. He'll just kind of back off of it a little bit. But I think Tom's right. I think he's got to come up with something like a straight changeup that looks like his fastball coming out of his hand.
You can dominate if you've got two good pitches and you're able to locate those two pitches. But if, you know, on a given day, if you're not locating one of those pitches and they can zero you into one pitch, sure makes it hard.
Two out run scoring hits have been tough to come by for Alex this year. He's 2 for 23 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. It's a big run 90 feet away in the form of Jason Hayward. And the count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Popped up. Young and Toriyama collide, and a run is in. Thank you very much. Freeman all the way around to third. Gonzalez moves up to second, and a gift for Atlanta. It's 3-0.
There's a little of that Texas defense we've been looking for. Toriyama said he didn't hear Young, but that's first baseman's glove
all day long.
Yeah. Went off of Young's glove, but you almost got to give the air to Toriyama for getting in the way.
So Nate McLouth bats, and that is the call, E2. Jack Wilkinson, the official score. He's got a target on his back, folks.
Get out of the way, Nate.
Rough inning for Toriyama. An error on the pop-up. Don't forget the error on catcher's interference.
Tied with Oakland for the most in their league. That Minnesota number's coming down, by the way.
Yeah.
They got off to a horrible start.
And the Rangers, when right in that ballpark, can outscore their own defensive problems.
Yeah, you're going to play defense like that, you better hit.
Three-one pitch is popped to second, and that will retire the side. Braves score 3 times. The big blow, Jason Hayward's hit to left. He brought home Jordan Schaefer and Dan Ugla, and an error on Torrealba added a third Atlanta run. On Fox Sports South is brought to you in part by AT&T Uverse, by Geico, by Toyota, and by Georgia Power. Braves strike first. 3-0 is our score as we head to the 4th inning in Atlanta today. And great seats and great deals are available for our next series of interleague play. That's with the Toronto Blue Jays. They'll be here tomorrow night. We have Coca-Cola 2 for $30 Tuesdays and Toyota 2 for $30 Wednesdays. Tuesday's a night game. Wednesday is an afternoon game. And you can save up to 46% off the regular ticket price. To order, call 800-745-3000 or buy your tickets online at braves.com/ticket specials. A nice long rest for JJ.
Yeah, then where do you guys go after that game Wednesday? Out west?
San Diego.
We get a little break from the heat. That'll be nice.
Seattle. Cruz tries to split the gap in right center, and he will. And it's his 11th double. And JJ goes right back to the stretch in the Texas 4th.
11 doubles. He's got 4 in this series. And he doesn't hit right-handers all that well. A 205 average coming in, but it's a little bit of an all-or-nothing thing for him. Those 2 for Tuesdays tickets, that's in the club pavilion, too. Those are good tickets.
Yeah. Murphy. Oh, what a pick by Ugla. He took away a hit. And Murphy, with a very productive at bat, gets Cruz to third.
Yeah, but the earth is back on its axis. Rangers boot a couple. Braves make a good play. Now things are getting back to normal. Nice play by Dan on that ball that came up.
That's the kind of reaction you like your pitcher to show your infielders, right?
You know it.
Absolutely.
Tom, did you ever go to Seattle in interleague play?
I did, yes.
That's a great park.
I pitched there a few years ago on Father's Day, and it was not a very memorable day.
Glad I brought
well, actually,
it
it was, but for the bad reasons.
Oh.
Beautiful, beautiful city, though. First time I'd ever been there, and we actually had 3 days of sunshine. So it was good.
Braves are going to see some pitching out on that trip, too. You know all about San Diego, their staff in that park. How about the Mariners with Bedard, Pineda, and King Felix? I don't know if we'll see all three of those guys, but
I looked it up.
We do?
I have a very strong feeling the Braves are going to see Pineda and King Felix at least.
And a base hit by Toriyama gets one of those runs back for Texas. He's 2 for 2. Cruz comes home. It's now a 3-1 Atlanta lead.
This is a really nice swing here by Toriyama. A ball that was kind of boring in on him a little bit, and all he did was just kind of drop the barrel of the bat on it. And he was able to do that because it was down. If it's up a little bit and ties him up, it's different. But that was a nice swing.
Yeah, up and in on hitters is tough to fight off. Down and in, they just drop the head.
By the way, Tom, we got the answer to your question about the worst month.
Okay.
1899.
A little before my time.
Yeah. Cleveland Spiders lost 27 in the month of July.
Wow.
I think that was the worst ever team in history, the Cleveland Spiders. One of those Cleveland teams.
Yeah.
Wow. You think there's any fights in the clubhouse during that month?
Well, if memory serves, they had a few ownership problems that year. They went bankrupt halfway through the season and had to play all their games on the road.
Ooh.
They finished out the year.
You pretty much bet on beginning of July they were riding the train. Then it went to the bus, and then it was get there any way you can.
Yeah.
Horse and buggy. Yeah. That one pops away from McCann. Ogando is down on strikes. First base was occupied at the time of the pitch. He's out, but on the ball in the dirt, Toriyama moves up 90 feet.
Of course, now that I think about it, they probably didn't even have buses.
Yeah, I was wondering that. I didn't want to go there, but, you know.
Speaking of that, I got a call technical on myself. We had a trivia question the other night. Who were the last two Braves starting pitchers to go to an All-Star game in the same year? I guess Maddox and Nagel. I had half of it right. It was Maddox and you.
Oh.
He just wanted you to know that we were not thinking of you.
That's okay. No, I'm sure he was thinking of me. He just didn't want to give me any props.
I just figured there's no way.
Yeah, I try to think out of the box. I understand. Although if it was in a even-numbered year, there's a good chance it wasn't me. I didn't go too many even-numbered years.
No.
The odd-numbered years, I did well.
One ball, one strike.
Odd number.
It's hard to believe that's right around the corner.
The All-Star game?
Yes.
Yeah, in Phoenix. Well, the man on the mound might have a pretty good shot of going.
I would think so.
I like Johnny Benner's chances, too. I hope they expand their horizons again to include some setup guys. Not just starters and closers.
You know, and I haven't seen a ballot. Do they have a slot for utility player listed as a National League position on the ballot?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't either.
Remember how much flack Charlie Manuel took for taking Omar Infante in that spot last year? Well, we were fortunate enough to see Omar play every day. But Charlie was right and very forthright in saying, look, these are very important players for our league. You've got the and you have the same consideration for the National League.
Ow.
And isn't there some kind of rule now that if a starting pitcher makes it and he pitches Saturday or Sunday or something of that nature that they're not going to pitch in the game. They're going to be replaced by somebody. So, hopefully some of those things will add up and create an opportunity for Johnny. He deserves it.
Plus, there's some rule now, too, that I like where I think it applies to catchers and maybe one position player where if you started the game and have come out, or you were a sub and you've already come out, you can go back in the game if it goes extra innings and they need another guy.
Yeah, because those are always the guys the managers hold on to because they're afraid of what's going to happen, and then that poor guy doesn't get an opportunity to get in the game.
Kinsler not going quietly here in the Texas fourth. They've gotten a run on 2 hits.
Again, that goes back to it being an exhibition game and should not carry any weight with respect to World Series or anything else.
To short. And a good stretch at first. And that'll retire the side. A run on 2 Texas hits. The Braves lead trimmed to 3-1 in the middle of our 4th inning. Enjoy a 3-1 lead in the home half of the 4th inning. And a chance for redemption. Tom Glavine for my partner to your right. As we take a look at our AT&T Universe trivia question, name the only 2 teams in baseball who have yet to suffer a series sweep of 3 games or more this year.
I know the answer to that. I'm gonna drop out because I know the answer.
Okay.
So it's probably pretty much on YouTube.
I'll think about it.
Torrealba's out of the game. New catcher on for Texas, Taylor Teagarden.
Torrealba stayed in long enough to get that RBI hit, but I wonder if that foul tip to his head affected him somehow. Got a little hot. Plus, he's caught the last 2 games in a row, too, coming into this one.
Diori Hernandez leads off for Atlanta. And lines to short. Elvis Andrus reaches up. And there's your first out.
I tell you, Diori's swinging the bat really good right now. He's had some good, solid pinch hit swings. He's playing some good defense, and I like him. I just think he's getting his feet under him a little bit, confidence-wise, doing some good things.
Yeah, he's just with that With that infield the way it is, it's tough to find any playing time in there.
Jurgens bats. Flied out his first time up. We've mentioned a couple of times how hot it is at the ballpark today. The Rangers, after this game, go back home. It's 102 in Dallas today, and they've got a 3-game series coming up with the Astros.
Yeah, this is the end of an 11-day trip, something the Braves can relate to after coming home from one of those for this homestand.
Hey, did you see the Angels road trip?
Yes.
How about this one? L.A., Seattle, New York to play the Mets, Florida, back home to play the Dodgers.
That's around the horn.
Uh-huh. Three balls and a strike to J.J. Braves scored all 3 runs last inning. A couple of errors and a big 2-run scoring hit from Jason Hayward.
That wouldn't be a bad trip if you get to stop somewhere along the way and see some historical markers, you know.
Well, you're going to fly over all of them.
Yeah. See Mount Rushmore, snuff the nation's capital, come back across the Grand Canyon.
Elvis Andrews. And there's your second out. And Jordan Schaefer, the batter. Jordan scored a run in the game. That'll be 18 runs in 23 games for Atlanta's leadoff hitter. And Mike Diori Hernandez, fellas, another guy that's getting his legs under him, doing what the team needs to do instead of perhaps what Jordan thought he had to do in his first time in the big leagues. And a one-hopper retires the side in order. First 1-2-3 inning for Ogando since the first. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South. It's brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. With my partners Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine, Chip Carey, a very happy Father's Day. It's been a while since we've been all together in the booth. A lot of stuff has been going on around Major League Baseball as far as the future of the game, Tom Glavine. Your thoughts on proposed realignment, the change in the playoff situation, and maybe a team from the National League going to the American League?
You know, the playoff situation I like. I like the discussion of expanding the playoffs. I think if you do it, you have to shorten the season, which I don't know if players and owners alike will agree on that. But I like that idea. And as far as realignment goes and whatnot, yeah, I mean, I think there's some merit to it. I mean, you have a 14 and a 16 now, go to 15 and 15. You know, I understand some of the arguments where, you know, you take the National League or the American League West and there's only 4 teams, and theoretically it's easier to win that division than it is other divisions in any given year. So, I mean, I get all that. You know, and I do think there is some merit in balancing it out. Now, one of the discussions I've heard is that you just make it one big league and eliminate divisions.
Andrews to center. 1 out.
You know, that part, I don't know. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. But, you know, I think it's a discussion worth having. I really do.
More interleague play, less interleague play, balanced schedule, unbalanced schedule. I guess it depends on what format they'd use.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the playoff format they want to go with. But, I mean, I've never been a big fan of the schedule the way it is now with the wild card team. You know, I think it just opens too many cans of worms with teams that are getting in ahead of other teams that aren't playing the same schedule, and you're not even playing the same teams half the time. So, you know, that I struggle with a little bit from that aspect. So I would love to see, if you're going to continue with a wild card format, then don't everybody plays the same team.
Well, don't you have? That means you have to play everybody.
Yes.
Which means more interleague play, which flies right in the face of what your partner and my partner to the far right wants to see, right? I know you don't like more interleague play, do you?
No, I don't. If they don't go to the realignment category, I wish they'd do away with interleague play for 2 or 3 years and make it special again. But the balanced schedule would be something I'd jump in the middle of, saying, yeah, boy, get it back. And that's on the heels of what Tom just said, to make it more equal so that everybody's playing the same teams the same number of times.
Josh Hamilton bats. He's 0 for 1 with a walk in the game. And now he's 0 for 2 with a walk in the game. Jurgens has handled Hamilton really well today. That's 3 strikeouts for the Braves right-hander.
With change-ups all in the same spot. Our Sherwin-Williams painting the corners here on Fox Tracks. Then he may have to throw a strike.
No, and there's something I think that they saw in the scouting report or have talked about, that, you know, he doesn't look good swinging at that changeup.
Beltre fouls one back to the screen. Another argument about the proposed schedule changes. It reduces the mystery between the 2 leagues that was in place when we were all little kids. As a former player in modern times, I guess, is there still that same mystery between the leagues with free agency and all the games that are on?
I think there is when you're not playing them. I mean, you might know the guys, but you're not playing. You're not playing against them all the time. You know, I mean, look, when I was playing and we didn't have interleague play, you know, you would go into a World Series and, I mean, you knew who the players were, but because you knew who they were, you still had a sense of unfamiliarity because you haven't played against them. You know, and it's, you know, it's tough to rely on what somebody's telling you in a scouting report to go out and do this, go out and do that, until you start to see it yourself. Now, some of that is gone in today's game because there's so much video, and you can watch 100 at-bats of a guy that you've never seen before you ever face him. So some of that goes away, but there's still a little bit of an uncertainty.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's some good in interleague play, obviously, for the fans, but I think by and large, I bet if you ask the players, the majority of players are going to tell you they'd rather not.
And so that begs the question, Joe, would baseball ever consider getting rid of interleague play, as you said, for a couple of years to make it special again?
I don't see it happening. I really don't. I mean, the fans like it. Fans turn out. They look forward to seeing certain teams come to town. You know, I don't know if Pittsburgh and Cleveland are tired of playing each other. I don't know if San Francisco and Oakland, their natural rivalry, I don't know if they're tired of playing each other every single year. that can't be special anymore. The Subway Series with the Mets and Yankees, I'm sure that town goes nuts for it.
Nuts is probably a little bit of a calm version. Yeah.
Same in Chicago, Cubs and White Sox.
So I think there are certain rivalries that you can't dismiss at all. But give us a break and make it special again.
Freddie Freeman at first handles that line drive off the bat of Beltre, and Jurgens starting to get into a groove. He's retired 5 consecutive men and sends this game to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Braves enjoying a 3-1 lead. Score. Texas will head west. Toronto will be heading south. They're playing in Cincinnati today, and the Braves will welcome them to town tomorrow night. You can catch the game here in Atlanta on Peachtree TV. Outside of Atlanta, the game will air on Fox Sports South. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock. Check your local listings or go to foxsportssouth.com to see where the game's going to be on in your area.
Toronto's a game over 500, and they're playing even better on the road, 19-17 on the road.
And Joe has already disqualified himself, Tommy, from the AT&T Ubers trivia question. 2 teams in the bigs who have yet to suffer a 3-game sweep this year.
I have to disqualify myself as well because I actually had it highlighted in my notes today. So.
Do you know, Chip?
Do you know?
Yeah, I think it's the Braves and the Phillies.
I think
I read the same notes.
All right. Clean sweep.
Miracles never cease.
And when I asked that, I said, I think I highlighted that somewhere today.
That big league prep paid off.
Exactly. See, all 5 minutes of it.
Low to Ugla, 1 ball, 1 strike.
What else you want me to solve today? NFL labor stuff or fix realignment? So
I think we've got that pretty much taken care of, don't we?
We fixed what we could.
How about this
realignment?
guy?
We left interleague play alone because we know that's not going to change. So
how about this guy? Is he starting to look fixed at the plate?
Well, I think he's starting to have some more quality at bats. Got a little bit of a bad break yesterday. Could have had a game-winning home run on that ball that he hit late in the game, but
that ball's yanked down the left field line, but no play. It scatters the Rangers in their bullpen. Joe, what are you seeing from Ugla?
That he's still in a Deadpool mode. Everything is that front shoulder is flying open and trying to yank everything.
Little pop into shallow right. Cruz is under it. And 1 man down. Players get a break today, fellas. They get to head to the dugouts and cool off. Not the case for the rookie home plate umpire. And Jim Lovell, the fine certified assistant trainer for the Braves, is making sure that Corey Blazer stays cool.
Tucking a cold towel down in there. Well, he's aptly named today.
Yes. Jason skies one toward Josh Hamilton.
When a third baseman, in the case of Ugla, is guarding the line like he's guarding the line for a lead in the ninth inning, you know that that's all that they're playing for, is for him to pull the ball. Beltre was doing just that for Dan a minute ago. And my response to that from Dan's standpoint is the same I've had really since the beginning of the season. And you can see Ugla way over, or excuse me, Beltre way over on the line, is that if you're going to do that, then crowd the plate. If you're thinking about nothing but from shortstop over to the third base line, then crowd the plate and try to take that away from anybody that tries to come in on you. Invite them to come in on you.
Low to Brian McCann, 2 balls, no strikes.
And I know from a pitching standpoint, too, I know that when I faced Dan, that you knew at some point in time you had to pitch him in. You had to keep him honest inside. You knew he liked the ball in there, but you had to keep him honest in there. The way I'm watching him right now, I don't think I'd even take a chance in there.
That ball's smacked to center. Hamilton turns, and it's high off the fence. Ryan thought about 2, but wisely slammed on the brakes.
It's another part of Josh Hamilton's game that made him the first pick in the draft out of high school, is that he can do just about anything on the baseball field. Great arm, too.
Yeah, a lot of times on a ball like that, you wonder, well, the guy mustn't have been running out of the box, but Brian was, and he just hit it so hard, and Josh played it perfectly, and known to have a strong arm, so you don't want to take a chance on that.
Playing center field, going to wear him down. He was in the corners last year for Texas.
He has been most of this year, too. I think this is an interleague thing.
Okay.
Because they don't have the DH.
They had a kid last year, Julio Borbon, who can really fly. As Freddie takes a strike.
And they got Indy Chavez now. They've got some other answers out there to take some of that off of him.
Freddie's hit the ball to right field twice today. Nearly homered in the second, and then hooked a single into right field in inning number 3 today. And now he goes the other way and singles in front of Hamilton. Oh, both my partners pumping the fist on that swing.
But see, this is what this goes back to Ugla. Here's a guy who's really been scuffling. Freddie. He'd struck out 16 of his last 25 at bats. Well, he looked at some video, or he got a suggestion from Larry Parrish or somebody about, man, you're just tying yourself up with this diving in and falling in. So today he's standing upright, and he's put some good swings on the ball. Adjustments. You're going bad or something's wrong, make adjustments.
I agree, and I think every time I've been here doing a broadcast and Freddie comes up and we see him hit a ball towards that Xfinity sign over there in left center field, it's like, that's beautiful. And it's funny because, driving up here yesterday during the rain delay, listening to a lot of interviews, one of the interviews was Freddie, and they were asking him about his hitting and what he likes to do best, and that's what he said. He said he more than anything else, he likes getting that line drive base hit into the left center field gap. That's when he feels like mechanically he's done everything absolutely right. He said sometimes I can jerk a ball and hit a home run or things like that where I didn't do any things right mechanically, but I got away with it. But he said in order for me to hit that ball over there, I got to do everything right, and that's what I want to see more often, and that was beautiful right there.
It was.
So he's got a 2-hit game, and Alex Gonzalez up with 2 on, 2 out. And pitch number 100 for Ogando is a swinging strike. Michael Kirkman is up and pitching, we understand, in the Texas bullpen.
Getting another run back. Here's Kirkman. Another run back after the Rangers got that run in the fourth would be big. Getting a couple more insurance runs would be huge because this is such a good offensive club, the Rangers.
And the Rangers have averaged almost 1 full run per game more than the Braves have this year. And you have to temper that with the fact they use the DH in the American League. Still a very potent club.
Yeah, you want to tack on every chance you get. That's something that I think Oganda did it by accident right there, but I think that's something he's going to have to start doing more of too. I haven't really seen too many pitches on the inside part of the plate to any right-handers today.
Into the seats, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I can see why he's 7-1 though, and I can see why his ERA is so low with the power arm that he has.
No question about it. I totally agree. The stuff is there, but I mean, I think too that you're gonna start to find out a lot here in the second half of the year in terms of what adjustments he's going to have to start trying to make. But no question, he's got a great foundation to work with.
Check swing. And that is that for the Braves in the 5th inning. Couple of hits with 2 outs, nothing else. And we'll go to the 6th. Tight game, but the Braves lead it. In Atlanta. And guys, a couple of young left-hand hitters having good days today at the plate.
Well, we've been talking about Freddie and his adjustments, and the one thing that I would just keep pointing out is how he's staying upright today and not really draping over the plate. And there's that pretty one.
That one's pretty. I mean, that's the one you like to see, and I know, like I said, that Freddie likes to see that as well. So certainly some good signs and good adjustments out of him today.
And if you listen carefully on that replay, you heard someone in the dugout say, "There it is." Did you hear that? Somebody said, "There it is," illustrating the point you guys were making. Beautiful swing.
Which is probably close to what we were saying up here as soon as we saw it leave the infield, too.
And hello to you as Jair Jurgens with a 3-1 lead trying to chase down his 9th win. That would tie him for the league lead. Cole Hamels and Roy Halladay have already won 9. start things off with Michael Young, who's 0 for 2. Long run for Freeman. And near the signage. Terrific effort, but can't make the catch.
Fortunately, it was a side swipe. Not a head-on collision with the knees.
JJ now over 100 pitches on a hot day. 101 to be exact. 68 strikes. Freddie spun his wheels a little bit and couldn't make the play over the shoulder.
He overran it and then made an adjustment right here. And when this happens, this is real hard not to go back to about 9 or 10 years old and just take your glove off and throw it at the ball.
I was just going to say, I know he wanted to make that catch so bad, but I love the reaction. I see that from my kids all the time.
And sure enough, the next pitch popped up in the general direction of right field again. George Sherrill getting ready.
Tough out. This guy just won't go away.
No.
Yeah, this is not the out you wanted to start the 6th inning and try and get through this inning.
Young has a 6-game hitting streak, and that snaps a run of 5 in a row for Jurgens retired. And the tying run comes to the plate.
Got tired of messing with him.
Yeah, that's the quality of bat right there.
Mm-hmm.
Texas got Nelson Cruz from Milwaukee. He was originally signed by the Mets as an undrafted free agent before the 1999 season. Then he's bounced around, went to Oakland, Milwaukee. Came over to Texas in the Carlos Lee deal. It sent Kevin Mensch, Lance Nix, Frankie Cordero, and Julian Cordero to Milwaukee. First time this man got a chance to play in more than 100 games in the major leagues. He hit 33 home runs in 2009.
Well, last year in the postseason, huge homers, 5 of them, I think, in all in those 3 playoffs.
Yeah, 3 in the division series, 2 in the championship series, and 8 RBIs.
Scott Linebrink has joined George Sherrill in the bullpen. Get a double play ball. He might get to stick around and pitch to Murphy, finish the inning. But if not, we may see Sherrill brought in to pitch to the left-hander.
That's golf foul.
Yeah, 110 pitches in this heat. He's had really only one or two easy innings. Everything else has been fairly stressful. So I agree. I think this, if it's not a double play, this is going to be his last hitter.
Tipped and caught, and Cruz upset. Swung at a ball that appeared out of the strike zone. There's a break. 4 strikeouts for Jurgens.
Right above his hands. Couldn't catch up.
Yeah, that's that one we talked about. Inside and above the hands, it's hard to do. You might fight it off for a base hit once in a while, but that one that's inside and down, and I was wrong. He's going to see one more hit.
Well, I was too. I'm surprised.
Ball 1 to David Murphy. Phillies play in Seattle. They start in about 25 minutes. Cole Hamels pitching for the Phillies this afternoon. Braves are 6 games behind them at the start of today's play. Florida's in a 1-1 game with Tampa Bay late. They're trying to snap a 9-game losing streak.
Always one National League game going on during interleague play because of the difference in numbers of teams in each league. And Houston's been working over the Dodgers. Dodgers are sinking fast. They've lost 5 in a row. 10 games under 500.
Some thought that club was going to win the West. Still might, but long way to go for LA. They lost 5 in a row.
That Minnesota team, though, they were written off early. Horrible defense. Just not going to be their year. Just an all-star team of injuries on the DL with Morneau, Mauer, Tomey, and I can't even remember everybody else. Kubel.
Kadyr's been hurt.
There they are. They've won 6 in a row, and everybody's going, uh-oh, look out.
How great would it be if that proves to be a 5-team race in the American League Central? I mean, you can't count out Kansas City. They're 8 back. So is Minnesota. White Sox are playing better. Tigers a game behind the Indians, who hang in there. Runner at first got a great jump. The pitch, a ball, and they're at first and second with 1 out. And will that be all for Jurgens? Let's see. The answer is yes. So Freddie Gonzalez, knowing his bullpen's been used a lot in this series, a lot of extra inning games, was hoping JJ could get through 6. He will depart after 5 1/3 with the potential tying runs on base for Texas. Jurgens in line to win, but needs some help from the pen. 3-1 score. The AT&T call to the bullpen answered by a man, guys, that's getting a lot of work, and he's getting more work because of the good run he's on.
I even saw Scott Linebrink out today before batting practice throwing a little bit in the outfield like he was throwing to a catcher, just getting his arm loose. But 3 straight real good outings on this homestand without giving up a run.
Let's see if that continues as he'll look at Taylor Teagard. Remember, Torrealba was in the game originally. Came out of the ball game after 2 hits and an RBI. So first at bat for the Texas catcher, Taylor Teagard.
And they only carry 2 catchers, so I wonder who their emergency catcher would be.
Somebody with a last name that starts with T. Torrealba, Teagarden.
Yeah.
But all kidding aside, Napoli's on the DL. He's their top guy. Teagarden, a local kid out of Dallas. Played on the U.S. Olympic team in 2008. Rangers picked him in the 3rd round of the draft back in 2005.
Word we're getting on Torrealba is that he came out of the game for heat-related reasons. Kansas City won Sunday afternoon. I told this story before, but it applies here. Back before they went to grass at Kauffman Stadium, and it was AstroTurf. Larry Cox is our catcher for Seattle, and he lost 12 pounds one day.
That can't be healthy.
We had to, it was getaway day. We had to wait because they had to give him an IV after the game.
Wow.
But he wouldn't come out.
Fly ball to right. Jason Hayward is under it. Young will tag and move from 2nd to 3rd. And Linebrink continues his good work as the entire Braves bullpen. Retiring that first hitter for your relief corps is very important. Scott does it here in the 6th.
I can remember a few days in old Busch Stadium there in St. Louis on that turf where guys would be coming in sticking their plastic shoes in ice between innings because they were melting.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch Moreland's announced as a pinch hitter. That's going to be one and done for Scott Linebrink. A lone hitter for the man from the Lone Star State. 3-1's your score. He's the third pitcher of the inning for the Braves, second out of the pen. He answers the AT&T call to the bullpen. Mitch Moreland is the Texas pinch hitter.
George gave up a run at Houston that last day in that series, but that interrupted a string of 5 others that that's the only time he's given up a run in his last 6. First appearance in this series.
So Moreland hits with runners at the corners and 2 outs for Texas. Moreland, a .228 hitter against left-handed pitching this season. And .299 overall with 8 homers and 20 knocked in.
I mean, it's kind of odd. George is kind of the left-handed specialist, but right-handers are the ones he's really handling better. Right-handers hitting only 200, left-handers 289.
Depending on how this 6th inning wraps up, wonder if Freddie had sent him out for a 7th. Braves played another extra inning game last night, albeit by Braves standards it was a short one, just 10 innings.
Yeah.
There you go. He did not.
I concur.
Now, the Braves are kind of running away with the extra inning games.
Yeah.
Good pitch here. Sherwin-Williams painting the corners. Like a little cutter that ran in there.
Front door cutter.
And he just struck out Moreland. Linebrink and Sherrill shut the door on the Rangers in the 6th and preserve a 3-1 lead for 8-game winner Jair Jurgens. Simmons of Gray, Georgia. Every home Sunday at Turner Field, the Braves honor their hometown heroes, a member of the military, and how apropos, on Father's Day, his family joins him too.
That's tremendous. A great welcome home indeed.
There's a look at the new pitcher on for Texas as the Braves come up in the bottom of the 6th already. It's left-hander Michael Kirkman.
Not not that many games since he got called up. He got some extra, I don't want to call it long relief, but a couple of innings work in New York in that series where the Rangers got swept, so he's been unavailable. He's handled pretty good in New York.
Sorry, Joe. He's one of 3 left-handers that Texas has. And that might have been a move for Ron Washington in that in the National League, you really do have to match up your pitching more often in close games. Look at this kid's numbers down at AAA. They weren't particularly good. But here he is, the first out of the pen in a 3-1 Braves game. Nate McLouth, Diori Hernandez, and then the pitcher spot for the Braves. We mentioned that Nate back on the active roster today, but that necessitated, fellas, a roster move either late last night or this morning before first pitch.
Joe Mather was designated for assignment. I forget what that is. Is it 48 hours for other teams to claim you?
I don't know. I forget how all that stuff works.
Something like
I think
that.
the team has 10 days to reassign you, waive you,
Is it that
or
long?
trade you.
Okay.
But it's the second time, I think, for, if I read this correctly, the second time for Joe, so he can become a free agent. Maybe that's what it was.
Okay.
Nate has lined out. He's been hit by a pitch today. And now has a 2-2 count.
Yeah, I see numbers like this on some guys like Kirkman, and with all due respect to him, and I've never seen him pitch, and I don't have anything to go by except numbers until today, but you hear about a guy that's got, he's 2-3 in AAA with a 4.8 ERA. Those guys are usually worried about a move, but it's not up.
Yeah.
It's either down and or out. But if you're left-handed and breathing,
see, it's always got to get back to that. You know, I mean, there are some left-handers in the game that are talented. You know.
and that list would be how long? Okay, I'm kidding.
That's pretty good size. But no, I agree with you. Hey, I mean, you know, everybody asks me all the time, why'd you choose baseball? I wasn't a dummy back then. I knew I was left-handed. That meant something.
Speaking of back then and today, I really expected to see you show up today wearing black and gold and still just a little bit frazzled from your celebration.
I was really close to coming in here with my Bruins jersey on. I really was, but I think the 95-plus degree heat has something to do with me not doing that. So I just try, I try to have some humility when my team does well. I'm not like Mr. Smoltz.
Well, I will agree there.
Now, if you guys had a dog in the fight, I might have had a little bit more of a reason to come in here with and hand out Bruins jerseys and hats and championship T-shirts. But
well, growing up a St. Louis Blues fan, just
you're not happy for me,
Bobby Orr? No, no, not on my list. And Beltre, a line drive rocket off the bat of Nate McLouth. 10 pitch at bat for Nate, and one away in the Atlanta sixth. Selecting great seats at Turner Field just got easier with the Braves' new interactive seat map. Go to Braves.com/tickets today and see the best available seats. The interactive seat map is easy to use and will give you a great chance to see great seats at a great price. Give it a try. Braves.com/tickets. Ball 1 to Diori Hernandez, who's 0 for 2 today. Florida's 2 outs away, fellas, from losing their 10th in a row. Here in Tampa Bay, 9th inning, James Shields trying to go the distance for the Rays today. Another hard hit ball by Diori, and a Ranger stands in the way. He's 0 for 3 and 2 outs. For Wilkin Ramirez, he'll bat for Sherrill.
Scott Proctor is loosening up in the Atlanta pen. Looks like he'll work the 7th. This guy brings some pretty good pop to the bench, especially against left-handed pitching. Good fastball hitter. Johnny Venners joins Proctor. Got a lefty and a righty throwing in the Atlanta pen. They're both ready. Won't take much.
Ain't going to take long today to get loose.
Full count pitch coming to Ramirez. Base is clear. 2 outs.
Don't know if Eric O'Flaherty's available today or not. He's been battling some back stiffness on and off again. I think if he were available, we'd see him up.
Some good at bats today.
Yeah, there's been like 9 million pitches thrown.
Yeah. Just what you guys like on a 150 billion degree day, right?
Well, had I had to sit through that rain delay yesterday, I'd probably be a little bit more aggravated about it, but at least today the boys are winning, so.
Well hit to right. And we go to the 7th inning. 3 up, 3 down for Kirkman, and the Braves retired in order. 3-1. Atlanta in front. The top of the Texas order due. Either tomorrow or Tuesday when the Toronto Blue Jays come a-calling. And you want to stick around in between innings today. Joe with a great interview with Chipper and his dad. They'll talk about the science of hitting on our Braves Sunday School feature. So stick around for that after the Braves bullpen takes care of Texas here in the top of the 7th inning. Another AT&T call answered, this time by right-hander Scott Proctor.
Scott's numbers are good, but he's had a hard time having clean innings. He's only had a couple of clean innings out of his last 7 or 8. Needs one today.
How many times have we said, fellas, 7th inning? Chipper said it too. 7th inning's the biggest inning Braves will play defensively all year. They've got the lead. Let's see what he does with Ian Kinsler.
In his defense, though, I will say that extra inning games, long games where pitchers have been able to or have not been able to pitch too deep into the ball game.
Sinking line drive. Jason may have lost it. And the leadoff man on for Texas. He acted like he couldn't find it.
Yeah, he looked like he didn't see it. And got a good jump on it to start with, but then halfway into it, wasn't real sure where it was.
A smart play, though, to pull up. I don't know that he's going to get to it. But again, for Proctor, this is 4th straight day.
Elvis Andrus, 1 for 3, was thrown out trying to steal in the first inning. He's grounded out and lined out since.
He seems to be the right guy for that 2 spot. Last year batted down in the order, but this is his 3rd year, full year in the big leagues, and he's beginning to get the hang of some things and really has a nice inside out swing when he's got runners on.
Runner goes. The throw by McCann had no chance. So Texas, an American League club, plays an awful lot like National League teams of years gone by. They steal a base in the 7th.
Oh, good grief. He was shuffling it. He didn't do McCann on him, but he was
I was gonna
close.
say, it was not quite as good as Max jump, but pretty close.
Got to make him stop.
14th steal for Kinsler. And Andrus shoots one to right. Jason tracks that one down. Runner tags, heads to 3rd, throw cut off. Productive at bat for Elvis Andrus. Now Josh Hamilton becomes the key man in the inning. And Freddie Gonzalez on his way out is going to again go to his bullpen.
Got Venners ready. And the Rangers 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position today.
Well, 1 for 10 would be fine with me. On comes Johnny Venters. Josh Hamilton standing in the batter's box, representing the game's tying run here in the 7th inning. They're cheering the Braves to a 3-1 lead, and perhaps a preview of what we'll see during the All-Star break. Baseball's biggest stars gather together in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night. It's the summer's biggest event. Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 MLB All-Star Game. Coverage starts Tuesday, July 12th from Phoenix at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox. The AT&T call to the bullpen answered by Johnny Venters, who is an All-Star hopeful, Josh Hamilton, who's an All-Star probable.
Good matchup here. Johnny pitched last night an inning, gave up a hit, struck out 2. Big league matchup.
McCann takes another shot, but Bryan's all right. Strike 1 to Hamilton. Jurgens walked him in the first, fellas, and then really mesmerized Josh with off-speed stuff the next 2 times.
Yeah, really did a nice job after that first at-bat of changing speeds, and particularly with the changeup. Josh didn't seem to be seeing that pitch very well from Jair.
Wow.
As great a fastball hitter as this guy is, it's wonderful that Johnny's got a couple of pitches to go to, and that power sinker and that slider, even though I'm not sure that's where he wanted to locate it, it worked.
To first. Freeman to the bag. But Hamilton chases home Kinsler. The Rangers manufacture a run. And the lead now trimmed to 3-2. Give Hamilton his 29th run batted in.
Good thing Freddie was heads up to take that to the bag, because Venters couldn't get over there.
Yeah, I think that's one that sometimes as a pitcher, when you see it hit that close to the bag, your natural assumption is the first baseman's going to cover or make the play. You don't realize he's playing so far back sometimes, and then it's too late to get over there.
Yeah, Freddie was in Augusta. But he got there. And now Beltre bounces one to short. And that will retire the side. 7th inning stretch in Atlanta. Stay tuned, friends. Sunday School featuring Chipper Jones coming up next.
I've got the Jones boys here, Larry Sr. and Jr., so I guess a tribute to Father's Day here. That's a nice thing. And I want to start with you, Larry, and that is for all those fathers out there that are watching that have 7- and 8-year-olds just starting to play baseball, what's your best advice for them?
Let them play. Let them have a good time playing, and if it's going to happen, you'll start to recognize it when they get to be 12, 13, 14 years old. Then you can start to specialize a little bit.
Is that a time, so many kids these days seem like they're playing year-round by the time they're 12. Is that a good thing in your eyes?
From my point of view, no. Let them be a kid. Let them play some football and basketball and hit the golf ball and go swimming and just be kids. There's time enough to do what they're doing now.
Another thing that you might want to share with dads and Little League parents out there is the switch hitting, because you started him early, didn't you?
Well, Mickey Mantle was my guy.
Mine too.
And, you know, as he started to get a little more proficient right-handed, we started talking about hitting left-handed. We go out in the backyard and practice at it. And, you know, by the time he was ready to be drafted, it was a real plus for him. I don't know that Chipper is the first pick in the draft in 1990 unless he was a switch hitter.
My dad loved the game. He taught me, I would guess, probably 90% of what I know about the game. I learned to refine some things the older I got. What percentage for you did you learn from your dad?
Well, I'd say at least 90. I mean, I think my high school coach, when I went away to Bowles at 15, I think my high school baseball coach will tell you that I was probably the most prepared player that he had at that age, that there weren't too many situations that I hadn't gone through, at least mentally, you know, either sitting in the living room watching a major league game on TV or out in the backyard. And I think it's kind of carried over. Like you said, there have been a lot of people along the way who have helped refine a lot of the things that he helped me with. But I'm certain that if he and I had stuck together, you know, through age 39, that he would have helped me refine those things as well.
There might have been a fist fight or two along the way, too.
Nice job, partner.
There'll be more of that in the post-game show. If you'd like to stick around, they'll have some more cuts from that interview. Thank you. That was fun.
Let's see if the Braves can get a little more offense working here. They scored all 3 of their runs in the third. That's been enough so far. 3-2, bottom of the 7th inning. Jordan Schaefer starts it off.
I love what Larry Jones said, though, about let them play.
Oh, I was just thinking that. I was, you know, in a day and age where kids are doing one thing all year long, and parents think that's the ticket to getting them to whatever professional sport. It's amazing when you talk to guys who play the games, not one of them will tell you let them play year-round. You know, I mean,
right.
Everybody did something else. Everybody took a break. And, you know, I agree. I see way too much of kids just focusing on one thing nowadays.
Chipper has a quote in something you'll probably hear in the post-game show that alludes to that. And his line was, he said, I knew where my bread was buttered. I knew baseball was my sport. But he said, I was out on the football field, you know, running pass patterns and ready for basketball season. And he said, I think the word he used, he said, it kept me fresh, made me enjoy the game more. Good cut. Got a high fastball and just missed it.
I don't know what Jordan's average pitches per at bat are, but it seems like it's 6 or 7 a game, doesn't it? Or and a bat.
Does. Seems very high.
Which I think gets back to his part of what he knows is the adjustments he's got to make. That's part of his game. Is even if he doesn't get on base, if he's forcing that guy to throw 5, 6, 7 pitches, then he's doing his job.
Well, he had a quote that I went to him afterwards and complimented him on about. I thought it was a true sign that he's beginning to get it and come around. Was in Houston. Braves lost that last game. They're 6-4 or 6-3. He had a 3-run homer in the 9th. And he was asked after the game about the home run. He goes, well, the home run was meaningless. He said the game turned when I didn't get the runner over after a leadoff double.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. I thought the same thing.
He said when I didn't do my job and get a little momentum on our side, that was the difference. Not backing off the left-hander, I know that.
A good crowd today here in Atlanta. Just announced 34,599. Braves are leading it. Try to salvage 1 of 3.
Ninth pitch of this at bat.
It was a good at bat. Schaefer aboard for the second time in the game. And Dan Uggla bats. Dan's 1 for 3 with a run scored.
See how Freddie plays this.
Got Uggla hitting. You have Jason Hayward, our Delta Airlines on deck batter.
When Freddie moved Uggla into the 2 spot down in Houston, I think was where it was, I really thought it was a good idea. I thought maybe it would change Dan's approach a little bit, and I think it did for a few days. But now, especially with Chipper out, I think this is a tough spot for Dan to hit because he doesn't hit the ball the other way enough.
Schaefer running. Teagarden's throw is late. Eight steals for Jordan Schaefer.
After a great at bat. Mark of any real good base stealer is being able to get up to top speed in just a couple of steps, and Jordan's able to do that.
Almost overslid the bag, but was able to throw out an anchor. Now he's in scoring position for Uggla.
My point, going back to my comment about Uggla in the 2 spot now, is that without Chipper, you don't have as many run producers in the lineup in the middle anymore. He would help in that regard. And without Chipper too, you need to be able to manufacture a little more and be able to move runners more.
And he just took a 3rd strike. Kirkman painted the inside corner.
Yeah, Sherwin Williams painting the inside corner here. Good pitch, according to Fox Tracks.
That's a good pitch after throwing him that changeup for strike 2. Get him thinking out there and locked him up on that inside fastball.
So now it's not easy for Kirkman, but he has Hayward, McCann, and Freeman, all left-handed hitters up against him with a runner at second and now 1 out. That's why Uggla is the key man in the inning.
Well, look what Texas did last inning. You don't have to go back very far to get a good example. They got the leadoff single from Kinsler, then he stole a base, and then you got the kid up there, Andrews, who, as we had said, is pretty much tailor-made for that because he inside-outs the ball. He hit a fly ball to right, got him over. Ground ball got him in. So they score a run on 1 hit. And theoretically, the Braves could have done the same thing. They could have scored without a hit.
Mm-hmm.
2-0 count to Hayward. Jason knocked in 2 runs in the 3rd with a single over short.
Way they are bird dogging Jordan there. It's almost like they're not going to pitch to Jason anyway.
They don't. Rangers set up a double play chance for McCann. 1st and 2nd, 1 out. Bryans walked, fly to right, and he has singled.
Got another good day at the plate. He's had another good day behind the plate. Oh, and I forgot. And on the base pads.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think if you put those things in order, that would probably be first. Right? Bryant, a 270 hitter against lefties. And a very late march out of the dugout for the skipper, Ron Washington. Don't know if he wants the kid just up from AAA to face Brian McCann. As we told you earlier, they have 3 lefties in their bullpen. Is Washington buying time, or is he going to his bullpen?
Well, he's got Arthur Rhodes, the veteran, and that's what he's going to do.
So Kirkman taken down after an inning and a third. 2 walks, 1 strikeout, no hits, but 2 runners aboard for Atlanta, looking to extend a lead. Rhodes, veteran left-hander to say the least.
You got to have a little bit of stuff to hang around as long as Arthur has, and he does. And he worked 2/3 of an inning in the first game of this series. Got a double play ball from Hayward in the 7th, and a strikeout. He's all right.
He's still getting it done. Left-hander's only hitting 185 off him, so something's working for him there.
Only 1 other active pitcher leads Rhodes in appearances. That's Mariano Rivera. And to avoid another extra inning game, do lead this one. But all those extra frames are the subject of our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard. 3-2 Braves lead it. 2 on, 1 out for McCann. Rhodes, 41 years old.
He's young.
Yes, he is.
High pop fly and foul ground. Young gives chase and won't have a play. He'll lead in the count.
2 fastballs. It looked like he was trying to sink the ball a little bit, run him in on Brian. His slider, to me, is not one of those nasty throw it at the outer third and have it break off the plate. He throws it for strikes typically.
Yeah, he's probably trying to throw it for a strike following something up where he threw to get you off it, either a fastball in or something of that nature. So that pitch right there looked like he was trying to go away and he missed in. So we'll see if he comes back with that slider after getting Brian conscious in.
Maybe Brian can take that slider to left center. Got away with one there.
Well, that's the thing that makes it tough is, even even if you guess on the pitch. The speed of it is so slow, it's still hard to stay on it long enough to go the other way with it.
Popped up. And Beltre's got it in foul ground for out number 2.
Tom, you mentioned you missed on location with that fastball. He got away with 2 more.
He got away with it. Well, that's one of those ones that you when you hang a curveball, you hope you hang it higher than high, because when you do, there's not much you can do with it. And I think right there, that was more of a curveball versus the slider. Had a little bit more of a change in speed, and even though it was a hanger, it was too high up in the zone for Mac really to put a good swing on it.
Oh, we've been bragging on Freddie Freeman's approach at the plate all day. Can he come through here with 2 on and 2 out now?
Braves 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position today. The only hit was that one by Hayward to drive in 2. They have the side armor Tateyama ready in their bullpen, right-hander.
And that's a luxury for Texas. 3 left-handers they can mix and match in the late innings. They've used Kirkman. They've got Rhodes now. They have Darren Oliver still left from the left side of the pen.
Interesting approach he's taking with Freddie. You know, he threw Mac a lot of breaking balls, and typically you would think with a veteran pitcher or a young guy in the batter's box that hasn't seen you, you're going to make him show you that he can hit your off-speed pitch, but he's gone at him with 3 fastballs. And there was the off-speed pitch.
There it was.
And I suspect he's going to see something similar to that again on the next one.
All you old guys think alike.
Well, young guys, you got to find out if they can hit that off-speed pitch. That's the great equalizer.
I got a piece of everybody behind the plate.
And that came up off the dirt. Good thing it didn't get up under his mask. The umpire, the throat guard, helped out too. But right in the jaw.
High fly left center. Murphy on the run, still going. It's going to get down for a double. That ball stayed in the air forever.
I don't think Murphy ever saw it. He didn't move until that ball seemed like it was by him.
Another good swing at a fastball. Freddie will take it. Looked like a routine fly. Yeah, and Murphy's got the speed to cover that. I think you're right, Tommy. I don't think he saw it off the bat.
So a 3-hit day for Freddie Freeman. He drives home his 27th man. Jason Hayward sent back to third base, but the Braves had an insurance run, and they chase Arthur Rhodes in the 7th. Let's take a look at Murphy's route in left.
Got a fastball, stayed on it. Another swing to the opposite field, and first of all, he hit it a long way. He hit it right at the base of the 380 mark. No, maybe one of the things there, Tom, was where Murphy was playing. He may have been way over by the line, too, to the opposite field for him with the left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, it just seemed like out of the corner of my eye when I saw the ball go, it seemed like it took forever, seemingly, for Murphy really to get into a full speed after it. And I don't know, it just didn't seem like he got a very good jump on it, but he was playing him closer to the line.
Good break for Atlanta.
They'll take it at the 3-hour mark of this game as Yoshinori Tateyama checks in.
Do your best to hang in there and maybe hit one right back at him.
Texas signed this man in November of last year. He pitched for the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters for 11 years.
Worked 2/3 of an inning in game 1. Worked a full inning yesterday and struck out 3.
Ground ball to short. Big hop. And stuck with it. And that'll retire the side. Braves add a run in the 7th. A leadoff walk to Jordan Schaefer. A steal as well pays dividends. Braves 4, Texas 2.
Plate umpire Corey Blazer had an ammonia towel draped over his head for the most part and then tucked it in his shirt. Every effort being made to try to keep him as cool as possible.
That was one of the questions in this game. We asked early how long would it take both pitchers to get used to the strike zone of the young umpire. Haven't really noticed him back there, and that's maybe the ultimate praise.
It's a good thing.
I'd say he's done a good job.
Well, Johnny Venter's back out there for the 8th. Young, Cruz, and Murphy coming up for Texas. Braves a little more breathing room now. It's a 4-2 game after 7. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Outside corner, and Young blown away for the first out.
Pitch tracks, painting the corners from Sherwin-Williams. That had a lot of the plate. Good start.
Nelson Cruz takes the ball low. Tampa Bay, by the way, did hold on and beat Florida. So that's some good news. Chance for the Braves to gain some more ground on the fish. Washington's win streak came to a close today. Phillies playing out west.
Boston continues to score a ton of runs.
Yeah, that's not a lineup pitchers can be looking forward to pitching against very much.
Florida's now 1-18 in the month of June.
Well, they've got the Spiders to look out for.
And you begin to think about the futility of that Baltimore team that started the season when you're 0-25 or something.
Down the left field line, Cruz guided that one inside the bag. And that'll bring the potential tying run to the plate for Texas with 1 out. 2 doubles for Nelson today.
5 in the series.
That pitcher just drops the head on it and keeps it fair.
Only one man alive that's had more doubles. We won't go there. Here's Murphy. Murphy's 0 for 2 with a walk. I forgot this kid Murphy was originally with Boston. Got him in 2007 in the deal that sent Eric Gagne to the Red Sox that year. Line drive, caught in left. Welcome to left field, Nate McLouth. Good play.
Boy, did he get a good jump on that.
Yeah, he sure did. Off the bat, I didn't think he had a chance to get it.
Playing a little bit toward the line with a lefty pitching to a lefty. Almost like he was anticipating that.
Biggest difference, Joe, between center field and one of the corner spots?
Just the way the ball slices off the bat from a left-hander or hooks from a right-hander. Get a lot more of that than you do in center field typically, but by and large, easier to play left and right than it is center, just for a couple of different reasons. Don't have quite as much ground to cover, and I think this is a good move from Nate from a throwing standpoint too. Throws to the plate, he doesn't have to clear the mound. That's a hard thing to do. You got to have a pretty powerful arm to make a throw from center field and throw it over the mound and get a one-hopper to the plate.
Johnny Fenders would like to end the 8th with this pitch. He's ahead of Teagarden 0-2. takes care of business in the 8th inning. His second strikeout. And Nate McLeod saved a run with a terrific diving catch that highlighted the top of the 8th.
Oh, once or twice.
Guy makes a great play and he leads off the next inning. That's the case for the Braves in the 8th inning with Nate McLeod. Braves hope to polish off Texas here this afternoon. Then we get set for the Toronto Blue Jays. Ricky Romero and Tim Hudson, the principals, tomorrow night. That's a 7 o'clock start on Peachtree TV in Atlanta. Fox Sports South in Braves country outside of Atlanta. Joe and Brian Jordan will have the call of game 1 of that 3-game series. Toronto comes to town, a 500 club. They were beaten today on the road in Cincinnati. And Dave Bush answers the bell for the Texas ball club here in the 8th.
Again, not that many games for him either, just 32 innings. But Nate deserves a hit. I mean, he's made a good play. He's been robbed of a hit. That line drive to third earlier. Just looking at the American League pitching statistics, and Toronto only has Baltimore and Kansas City below them in ERA. So they've had a disappointing run with their starters and relievers. They thought they had a pretty good rotation in place.
Yep.
I think they just sent Kyle Drabeck back to the minor leagues, though.
They did earlier in the week. National League fans might remember Dave Bush from his days with Milwaukee. Reunited with his pitching coach, Mike Maddox, who was the leader of the staff with the Brewers when Bush had back-to-back double-digit win seasons, 2006 and 7.
You always have to pitch well. You always have to hit well. But what a nice thing it is when maybe you've had an off year or even two. If there's a coach you knew before when you were successful, he knows what you're capable of doing, that he can get you another chance somewhere else.
Well, Joe, you know what they say. If you're right-handed, you can.
If you're right-handed and breathing.
Pretty much.
I mean.
Foul back to the screen. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bush lives in Maine in the offseason and pitches in Texas.
That's kind of opposite ends of the spectrum weather-wise there.
Yeah.
He's probably got a barn that he keeps at about 105 so he can go out there and pitch in the winter.
Fouled away.
Where in Maine does he live? They say?
Hold on. And ask me after I shut the book.
Of course.
Where the heck is it? Well, he went to Wake Forest. Hang on, I'm getting there. Bridgeton, Maine.
I don't know where that is. It's cold, though.
Get through.
We love it when they follow the script. McLouth with the leadoff single.
He was 3 for 6 in his rehab starts at Gwinnett. And gets his first hit back in live action. He's had a good day. He's been on base twice, got hit by a pitch. He might be running. Here's a guy that's perfect to hit behind somebody on base, or if you get him to second, get him over.
Beautiful bunt. And for a homestand, guys, where the Braves at times have struggled doing little things, they've done a good job of doing the little things offensively today.
Perfect bunt right there. Move the guy over. An opportunity to score another insurance run here. You're right, Chip. They've done, and we've talked about that a lot this year, that they're not, the team hasn't necessarily been made up that way to where they can manufacture a lot of runs. But now with Jordan in the lineup and McLouth in the lineup, and, today with Diori out there, he brings a little bit more speed and some things that he can do offensively, like he showed with that bunt. They're able to do some things today.
Inski hits. McLouth in scoring position, 1 out in the Braves' 8th.
By the way, Bridgeton, Maine, Chen showed me on the map. It's kind of north-central Maine.
Okay. Not an area that I would go if it's not along the coast.
Okay.
No reason to going all the way up there.
It's probably in the plains area where it's a lot warmer.
Yeah, exactly.
They have planes there?
Air type.
Ow. Inski down, no balls, 2 strikes. And down to about 7 toes.
What's this guy got working in the background there? It looked like a napkin made into a soda jerk hat. Yeah.
Either that or it's his rallied faux hawk.
Uh-huh. Whatever it takes today to stay cool.
Yes. You mean temperature-wise?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Well, if you've noticed, if we were a cruise ship right now, we'd be tipping over to our left-hand side. Everybody's going from the right field side over here to the left field side of the stadium.
Yeah.
Get in the shade.
Yeah. They've had enough. I can't blame them.
88 degrees, the official temperature at first pitch. But it's a lot hotter than that.
Yeah. Down on the field especially. Breaking
ball takes care of Hinske, 2 outs. And the first strikeout for Bush.
That's a nasty bite on it.
Yeah, I think that's one of those ones that you commit to swing at it, and then you're kind of, when it just keeps chasing you, you're hoping you don't hit it.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. You're trying to get it off of you.
Join us at the Swanee Town Center for our Game on the Green outdoor viewing party, Saturday, June 25th. Joe and I will be out in San Diego with the Braves and Padres. You'll be watching, we hope, on a giant 25-foot outdoor movie screen. All the fun starts at 6:30 with entertainment for the family. Visit Braves.com/Game on the Green. It's presented by Sports South, 680 The Fan, Fox Sports South, Rock 100.5, and Q100.
Braves' third trip to the West Coast before the All-Star break.
Used to do that routinely back in the day. That was a lot of traveling.
Greg Kimbrell getting ready for the top of the ninth. Jordan Schaefer hoping to add an RBI to his line score today. Jordan scored 2 more runs. 19 runs scored in 23 games.
That walk he earned in the 7th is akin to a guy who's a 3rd or 4th place hitter who fights off a lot of pitches until he gets one he likes and then he hits it hard somewhere for a base knock. For Jordan, it was fouling off a ton of pitches until he got a walk, and it worked as good as a hit.
That off to stay alive. A ball and 2 strikes.
I don't think Bush is lighting up the radar gun like Mr. Ogando was, but that off-speed stuff can drive you just as crazy.
Yeah, even though he's not throwing 95, they're not exactly taking comfortable swings.
High fly toward Murphy and left. And that sends this game to the 9th inning. Braves enjoy a 4-2 lead. Craig Kimbrell will try to save it. Swept in a 3-game series this year. 4-2 is your score. And fans sign up today for the 2012 Braves Fantasy Camp. You'll enjoy a week of baseball at Disney's Wide World of Sports with Braves legend Steve Avery, Javi Lopez, Sid Bream, Otis Nixon, Marquise Grissom, Pete Smith, Greg Olson, and others. Register today at Braves.com/fantasycamp or call 404-614-1526.
I get you a water?
No, I didn't see your name on the on the promo.
That's prime hockey season right there.
It's true.
You know,
it's true. Craig Kimbrell answers the AT&T call to the bullpen, looking for number 19.
He's 18 out of 23, and after that outing in Houston where it was a non-save situation and he got knocked around a little bit, he's come back really strong in this homestand. 2 outings against the Mets, 1 against Texas. That's 3 innings total, no hits or runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts.
Already those 18 saves, the most by any other rookie in the history of baseball before the All-Star break. The Braves' rookie team record is 30. Kerry Lightenberg did that. Everybody hoping Kimbrell will fly past that as Endy Chavez starts things off for the Rangers in the 9th. And a fly ball to straightaway center. Kinsler scored the second run for the Rangers. That was in the 7th. That was the sequence Joe was talking about a few minutes ago. Single, stolen base, advance him, get a ground ball, and a run.
pretty simple formula. Sounds easy.
Fly ball, shallow right. Jason calls everybody off. He got a good jump.
Last time Craig Kimbrell had an outing where he didn't strike out a batter was May 28th against Cincinnati. That was 10 outings ago.
I think he'd be okay with a ground ball right here.
Anything. Get back on the winning track.
You don't want to put this guy on with Josh Hamilton waiting next. It's a 4-2 Braves game.
I know, I don't want to see him hit again.
Two balls and a strike. Andrews can fly. Oh, bare hand. What a play, but Freeman can't hold on at first. And Hamilton will hit with a chance to tie it up.
I'm not sure why he barehanded it. First of all, that throws you off a little bit on your normal routine of fielding and throwing with your footwork. It'll be an E5. He had time to, and he was in front of it to glove it and throw it. I don't know if it would have improved his throw or not. We'll never know.
Yeah, he didn't seem to be able to quite get the extension on the throw that he normally does.
So it's at 8 errors for the Braves in the series. 2 today.
Yes.
Well, it's like we talked about before the game. Sometimes that element of speed, it makes the players on the field seem like the play is happening faster than it really is, and it forces you to rush a play when sometimes you don't have to.
Wow, Hamilton wondering, how did that ball explode like that? 0-2.
Don't have to throw him a strike.
He did, though. And the Braves polish off Texas and win by a final score of 4-2. On a hot, sticky Father's Day Sunday, Atlanta grinds out a victory, avoids a sweep, and maybe takes a little momentum in the final series at this homestand starting tomorrow with the Toronto Blue Jays. There's your final. Take a quick break, come back and put a lid on it for you. Braves a winner 4-2, the final score at Turner Field.